Okay. So the question is, what do you believe are the foundation that makes marriages or relationship work?
Marriages. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, first of all, I would like to say that my name is Chad.
Okay. Hello, Chad.
Hello. Uh, Marriages and relationships. Okay. Um, if you can listen to 1,000 podcasts, read 10,000 books. Each of them, you're gonna find a little bit
Mm-hmm.
different answer.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's very hard to kind of pinpoint what truly make things work because you have 7, 8 billion people, and everybody has different opinion what marriage is. And some people are pro marriage, and some people are against marriage. These opinions change based on culture and also based on your life and your experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you learned what actually marriage was and who was it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, originally, marriages were not for common people.
Mm-hmm.
Marriages were, for royalty, for kings and queens
Mm-hmm.
to marry between countries. And what that technically did was two countries as would protect each other
Mm-hmm.
together. So it was technically to provide safety. And later it became for more like an elite people, and because there's no police back in the day, so that offered two well-to-do families became stronger than a single family.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that trickled down to a regular common folk uh, based on from when it came to Catholic or Christian church, and that was a mechanism to control population.
Mm-hmm.
So as today government kind of controls the population, Christian church, Catholic church, it did the exactly same thing. So you can send out a propaganda, for family life. You can create incentives, so tax breaks for marriages, for having children and whatnot. Or like today, you see in the Western world, a lot of women are against marriages. They or they tell you it's like, well, if you're in a marriage and obviously new relationships are a lot of fun. It's a novelty. There's a lot of excitement, but all these things eventually kind of subside. And quite often, when a woman does not feel that the relationship is exciting, it's not kind of going the way she wants. A lot of women just leave. And there's a lot is done on that usually marriages worked as long as the man was protecting them and supporting them. But since the government steps in and they offer you protection and also support, even as a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
women don't need a man. So technically, that's what they did. They so you see a lot of single mom. You see a lot of moms without even ever getting married because they get a lot of support from the government, and and now the government collects child support from men. Even when you see couples when they divorce, most likely most of the men they remarry within 2 years. Women do not,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and you even see a lot of women. Like they want to kind of play the field. They they were kind of told that uh, concentrate on your career, get a boob job, travel. You don't need a family and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But since 1950s, for the first time, you see men are more happy than actually women are.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is that, family gives you purpose.
Exactly.
Uh, um, and living by yourself and, have a and travel. But when you turn 40s and 50s, you got a lot of friends, but you don't have a partner, you don't have kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, look, that's what happened with me. I'm 46, no kids, never been married. Like, it's not the place that I originally like. It's not a place that I wanted to be in. And because of my past and among other things, whatever happened. But would I make different decisions back in the day if I knew what I know now? Of course, because like I said, there's certain things that I guess I just grew up way too late.
Mm-hmm.
um and it seems that a lot of people kind of follow this kind of pattern, and that has a lot to do with obviously social media. Like, social media is robbing people.
Mm-hmm.
It's robbing people from the culture. It's robbing people from their time. It's brainwashing them. People watch other people that supposedly are more successful, who do better, drive nice cars, they travel. When you look at the Facebook, you see people, on vacation, all happy, and children happy, and this and that. But what happens in the background, you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yeah.
they argue,
Mm-hmm.
when the children must be, same thing happened to us. Like, if
Yeah.
you would look at my Facebook, you see the smiles and everything, but you don't see the problems in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what women see. And look, it's my opinion that there's a data to back it out that women are just easy to brainwash. Like, that's why advertising companies, they started to target women in '70s, because they tell you the diamonds are forever. They do not represent love. I can tell you that you were used. Purses, they tell you what to wear, what to do, what's feminine. That skinny was good. Now, big, big beautiful women and all these things are just kind of brainwash people. So it's like they're using a software to override the hardware. The hardware is our genetic predisposition. It's what we've learned over 200,000 years. And 99% of people kind of bite into it, where 1% of the population, they kind of see through these things, right? When it comes to the marriage, like I said, to kind of get back to the source of the question, um,
Yeah. The question. What do you
when
believe are the
you when you
foundation?
build when you build a relationship, it's just like when you build a home, right? It's a shelter. One protects you from environment, the other protects you from life. But it is life. The thing is that if you have a weak foundation that's crumbling, that home with strong winds, typhoons, eventually is going to collapse. There's nothing strong that holds it together. Um, so the foundation should be very, very strong, and it should not crumble or crack under any circumstances, no matter what comes around. Let me clarify this a little bit more. So if you do your research, before 1800s, middle 1800s, there was no divorces really, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, people, you also lived much shorter. They lived to like mid 30s on average. Obviously, life kind of expanded after 1950s. The funny thing is, like, you hear a lot of these questions, like, why are people living longer today? And a lot of people having problem, like, answer the question. The question is simple: antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
So, antibiotics doubled our life. Um, Plus, we know to wash our hands, among other things, right? And I'm not gonna even talk about other things anyway. But before 1850s, 1850s, there was really no divorces, is because people back then didn't marry for love, right? They married for utilities. A lot of marriages were arranged, and there are still some countries and cultures that they still
Mm-hmm.
practice arranged marriages, and these marriages, on most of the time, they last forever. Um, However, nowadays, for like an average woman, depends on the age, but usually for the young, like, let's say, like 80s, 90s, 70s, those lot of romance novels, cartoons, they feed you this BS, about soulmates, uh, love forever,
Mm-hmm.
um, and all these things. And you see the romantic movies, they end happily ever after they went through their turmoil. And since you're a little girl, you kind of watch these movies and you kind of dream about your happily ever after. And sometimes you meet a guy and everything is nice and peachy, and then after a couple of years, it seems not to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so our brain, especially the prefrontal cortex, it's a prediction machine, right? So we gather a lot of things based on our experience. Our brain predicts things into the future. So to us, whatever we feel now, we feel it's gonna be like this forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing for survival. But since today we don't have to deal with predators most of the time, it's it's not a benefit. Is because if you just because you love somebody right now like crazy and you feel like you're gonna be with them forever, does not necessarily mean you're gonna feel like this always. But that's how it feels to you. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody breaks up with you, or or hurts you and you feel hurt, today you're gonna feel like, oh my, it's gonna feel like this forever. But that's how we just kind of see things. But that's not how things are. I can, if somebody tells you, I love you and I'm always gonna love you, listen. At this moment, I believe you. I
Mm-hmm.
know how that you feel, but that's not how it's gonna feel later on. And if that's what you believe, guess what? You're gonna be very, very disappointed. The science is very, very clear on that. The studies are very clear on that. And as sometimes people don't believe in, you could say that, like, according to statistics, like, oh, I don't believe in statistics. Well, guess what? People lie to each other, or they misjudge things all the time. Numbers don't lie because numbers don't care. They they'll tell you that the possibility of you being wrong is going to be 99.9%. It's without a doubt, math doesn't lie because it doesn't have feelings. People have feelings, they have emotions. When you have emotions, you make and you think stupid things, right? Logical thinking, emotional thinking overrides logical thinking. When you're pissed, you're gonna make decisions you're gonna regret later when you're not pissed. It is plain and simple. So we do this over and over and over again. We don't learn. To kind of get back is that it's obviously clear that if you meet a guy and you're crazy about him and you love him and you feel, oh, this this will not be the case 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now. And the more you are aware of that, the better you can be prepared,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and the better you can manage the relationship. Relationships, like everything else in life, is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's got its upside down. Weather, economy, human relationships, everything works in a cyclical. So what happens is, for example, as most of people, is you have times where you are in love, then you're angry and you hate the person, then that person does something good for you, you're in love again, then you know what I mean? It's like it goes up and down and up and down. Would I want to build my house on top of that?
Mm.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. It's crazy how, why? Because it's emotion. So emotion is the same thing as anger and happiness. It's never going to be steady. So if you have a goal to be happy, you're going to be disappointed because you will never achieve it. If you think your goal is to always love, so, the only true love that admittedly is possible, it's the love of between mother and the child. Mother will never love her husband as much as she will the child. That's just a biology, simple as that. Um, so if we know that when it comes to the emotional aspect of the relationship, it's not suitable for as a foundation, and that's obviously clear because in the United States, over 50% of the marriages end up in a divorce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how they said is the woman you marry, it is not the same woman as you divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. So you should not marry somebody just because you're crazy about them. Why or when should you marry somebody? You know, I can tell you based on what I've learned, and I've read a lot of books. I've learned. I listen to a lot of podcasts. For the reason is that my relationships have failed. If you have 5 relationships, 10 relationships, 20 relationships, whatever it is, and none of these relationships work out for you, you're the common denominator. You cannot say 20 relationships failed because of somebody else's reason. I'm pretty sure that the failed relationships, when it comes to me, a big part of it because it was me. And big part of it was there's a possibility that there's something I don't understand. There's something I don't know. There's something that I've missed. And as with everything else in life, I want to understand what.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of got me into this deep rabbit hole of kind of searching. Um, and during that process, I've learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's still a lot that I have to learn. And, it's going to be a process and it takes a very understanding person that sometimes will judge you based not one bad day, but throughout the whole kind of process, right? So if you're with
Mm-hmm.
somebody for 2 years, and for 2 years, like 90 something, 98, 99% of the, of their time is good. Then you have one bad day or one bad week. What are you going to do? You're just going to scrap the whole project,
No.
or you're going to kind of rethink it. Well, but that's what people do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is you're gonna have a wonderful life and blah blah whatever, and then one day something happens and you just like you go global.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Like this is what I
definitely.
learned from
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Peterson, right? He said when you have a leaky roof, you don't replace the foundation on the house. You just go and you patch up the roof, or you replace the roof. You don't replace the whole thing. But that's what people do.
Mm-hmm.
You make a one mistake and out of nowhere, you're being attacked. Is like you're a horrible person. Instead of saying like, look, you're an amazing, but this one thing you did or this one thing that you're doing, it's pissing me off. Can we please talk about it so it doesn't happen again because it's a big deal for me? Wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
that fix when you target just that one mistake instead of like said going global and everything is bad and blah blah whatever? But that's what people do, and that's the big problem, right? So when we talked about what's the common reason why people are breaking up, it's the first is the attitude and the tone of their voice, and the second thing is the money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, people that and we're gonna get back to this later because I'm kind of going off the tangent a little bit too far. But nevertheless, what a kind of history of positive relationships says, what's a good foundation is the utilities, and utility is what we do for each other.
Mm-hmm.
In another word, is the transactions we have. Now you can mention transaction to a woman, to a Filipino, and a typical Filipino, a simple Filipino will say, she'll look at me like I'm crazy. Like, well, transactions, like relationships, not about transaction. Like, it has nothing to do with money. Uh-huh. Well, transaction means that both parties, or both people, have to bring something to the table of value for each other, right? Um, so what I mean by that is that we have to do things for each other. When you live together, you could say, okay, I'm going to go to work. I'll make money. I'll come home. Let's say, you could say, I'll take care of the house. I'll get a part-time job to help financially if there's a struggle. And then I'll take care of the kids. And for example, I'll come home, I'll take over the kids, I'll wash the dishes, because you cooked and all these things. And you kind of fill things at 50-50, so you make each other's life uh, more easy. The thing is that quite often, and this is very hard to do. It's harder to do than say, because in most of the times there's gonna be a side that's gonna feel like I'm doing way more than you do,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm doing all these things for you, and I don't feel I'm not being appreciated. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like when it comes to me, I'm gonna do my part, and I don't need appreciation. I'm gonna take out the trash. I'm gonna fix your car. I'm gonna mow the lawn. I'm gonna lift shit, fix shit, and among all these other things. And I don't need appreciation because I feel like it's my duty to do those things as a man.
Mm-hmm.
But just because, and this is what's very, this is what's it's hard for me to kind of grasp my mind. Just because I don't need to be appreciated, it doesn't mean that my woman doesn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you could, like, let's say for me, for example, I love to clean, I love to cook, I'll do laundry, whatever. It's one of the easiest things that I do, right? When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to my life, like I can turn on TV, listen podcasts, and my Sunday, it's very enjoyable. It's kind of, you know but some women might hate that, for example, because they did it for years and years and years. And it's that kind of their mental aptitude. It's just a mental approach to this whole thing, is they feel like they have to do it. And if you come up to them and say, like, honey, I appreciate what you're doing. When you do this for me, I can do something else. It sometimes switches their kind of mindset to say, because you feel appreciated, and then it's going to be more enjoyable to you. I think it's very, very clear that you know, people need to approach this with the communication, right? When you say,
Yeah.
like, listen, I'm doing this, blah blah blah, whatever, and I'm kind of feel like I'm being not appreciated, you're not being appreciative, and this and that, and it seems like I'm starting to hate doing it because it feels like I'm doing all this work for nothing. Um, and if you bring it to your partner, and you will show, or you create a mental picture of how you feel and what you do for your partner, maybe your partner will understand.
Mm-hmm.
But for you to hope that he's just gonna see it and magically understand it, and if he doesn't see, then you get mad. He's not the problem. It's you are. You
Mm-hmm.
should absolutely. talk about every single thing without expecting that he's gonna see it or he's gonna figure it out. That's why I personally tell you everything that's on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing, bad
Bad
thing,
thing.
what
Yeah.
bothers me. Sometimes when things bother me and I'm not getting anywhere, I try to kind of uh, negotiate with myself, but eventually, I kind of might lose this war, and then we have bigger problems and all these things, and it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
It is a mess how we see things, and um, the thing is, the harder you try, the harder you try, the more energy you put, and that energy is just wasted, the more aggravating it is for a person. But definitely, the best thing you can do is to 100% be honest and be as clear as possible to explain exactly what's going on in your head so your partner understands you. Because believe me, I don't understand the half the shit that's in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that. That's why I asked you every single day, be clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So be clear so I understand what are you talking about, what do you want, what do you mean, among other things. Because if I don't understand you, then I just don't understand. Like, I can try to figure things out, but it's just sometimes it's very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so to kind of get back to the foundation thing, so everybody has different things. However, the foundation of the relationship is as follow: stability.
Stability.
And that's stability. That's, to me, the absolute, the basic. And I'll clarify what I mean by that. So we have work, some of it children, families, problems at work, problems with kids. You're driving, you're riding. Sometimes maybe somebody almost hit you. Somebody said something about you behind. Oh, I mean, there's so much chaos going on. The government is stealing your money. There's inflation. You worry about money. You worry about this. You like People go through a lot. People go through a lot of stress. People have a lot on their mind. And to me, like the perfect scenario is that once you come back home, it all stops.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, the perfect foundation when it comes to relationship, it's a peace of mind where once I walk in home and I do all my things, I'll take a shower, I lay in your arms, and I'm done. Like none of the problems of the outside world matter at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just relax and not worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what this is what relationship should be, is to give each other the break from life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's what I'm looking for
one
also.
yeah one of the podcasts that I was listening to when they said, like, when do you know the relationship is over, is that we've talked about this when, let's say, husband comes home, your boyfriend comes home, and he's gonna, or and let's say you tell him, it's like, oh, I had a tough day, and your partner's gonna, oh, you think you had a tough day? Let me tell you what happened to me. This is where you can tell the relationship's about to run its course, that you're not willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
see yourself that you start to see yourself as way more important, that you stop paying attention to what happened to your partner. So that means you're not investing into this partnership anymore. If you see yourself do that, then you have to stop and think about what's happening, what's progressing. You need to sit down ASAP with the partner and start talking about it. Like, this is, we're going down, and like, think about, so this is something I have never heard anybody. Okay, I've never heard anybody talk about this, but imagine how many people, for example, in the United States are married. I mean, you can Google it, you can ask AI, whatever, how many marriages we have and how many divorces we have. So okay, so divorces is like 51% or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now people are talking about shortages of home.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when you divorce?
Oh, split home.
Instead of one house, now you need two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you bring, so everybody's talking about like, oh, we have too many immigrants, we have too many of this, too many of that. What about each time you divorce and you got 51% of divorces, which is going to be millions of couples? Now you
Mm-hmm.
need millions of new homes
Oh,
to put them
yes.
into. So when you're divorcing, obviously you're splitting your income, right? So according to Scott Galloway, if you're married, a married couple usually does 70% better than a single,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's a huge income boost. Um, so if you divorce, you can technically, let's say your wealth is going to go down, even let's say 50%, because first of all, you're going to split your income wealth. You got child supports. Now you go additional home, additional bills, additional everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to thousands and thousands of dollars per year. I'm sorry, but if you're going to pay me thousands of dollars per year, willing to listen to the worst nagger. It's like, consider this to be a job, right? It's my extra income. If you're going to pay me and you want to nag, go ahead. I'll listen. I don't care as long as you pay me. So if you think about it, it's you're gonna lose your home, as most likely, or or you're gonna have to sell your home because half of the house is gonna belong to your ex-wife. Your ex-wife's gonna take your kids away from you. Now you're gonna have to set up the time. You're gonna pay child support and all these things. Isn't it cheaper to sit down and just talk?
Oh, yeah.
Under normal circumstances, it would be. However, if the government's gonna step in, okay, the government's gonna step in. He's gonna say, "Don't worry about it. We'll force the husband to pay you child support. We'll take care of you. If you're not gonna make a lot of money, we'll get you housing. We'll give you food stamps, among all these things, and you can do whatever you want. You can go to your gym and you can bang your personal trainer, right? Well, it's a good deal, right? Because now I don't have to put up with anybody. Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
you say so, I get it. I get it. The thing is that the husband eventually is gonna move on. He's gonna still have that family, and you're gonna bank so many personal trainers, and then what are you gonna do? The thing is that at some point, the incentives are just so perverse that when you look. I mean, I'm gonna admit that men do much better with women in their life because women keep us accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That is very clear. When you look at most of the young men today, they sit at their parents' basement, they play games and vape because they have no hope of even walking up to a girl and get any date unless you're like the top 1 or 2% of men, right? Good looking and all these things. And women complain like guys are cheaters and liars. And yeah, because there's technically 100% of you are fighting for the 2%, and those 2% have so much options, they don't give a shit about you. And the guys that actually would be good for you, you don't even notice though, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so they cannot do this do this kind of to themselves. Now you have very good looking women are complaining that no men are walking up to them, even asking them about a date. And it's because the culture and society said, or they kind of taught us that if you walk up to a girl, even look at the girl, that you're a pervert, that you're like a bad guy, you're a predator. Guys don't want to even deal with now. I mean, it was stress. It was enough stress just to walk up to the woman, knowing that you're probably going to reject it. Nevertheless, they'll make you feel like you're a pervert or a predator. Like, why would you even risk that? So at some point, now this is what women created for themselves, and now these things are slowly coming out, and and it's just it is what it is. The guys that are a little bit more, how you said it's financially stable,
Mm-hmm.
they can leave here, go to another country that you still have these conservative traditional relationships like Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, Brazil, like Latin countries, uh, and they can meet wonderful women that respect men, respect family life. Among the way that things used to be in 50s and 60s in USA, and they can marry these women and they bring them here. And there's a lot of women, like they complain about it. There's like, so I guess I'm a passport bro.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down and think about it. Like think about what you got at home, you got kids you have,
Mm-hmm.
and even if you leave, you get a little bit excitement. How long is that gonna last? On so many examples, sorry, like in my life, that anything that was short term, um, I'm very, very off on my prediction, and things that I'll let go, or like even when you invest in something and it's going to be a 5 or 10 year plan, it always works out.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not get as much joy, um, as much fun now. Like even when it comes to the money, right? You'll purchase this, you'll purchase that, whatever you can use it. But guess what? 2, 3 years later, it's old. You don't look at it anymore. You don't play with it anymore, right? But if you go and you invest that money 2 years later, you could probably buy five of these things already, or two or three times. But everything is about now. And you know what? And sometimes, like I said, to a certain degree, it's okay. But you shouldn't gamble like this with when it comes to relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes that strong foundation in a relationship. Is the long term goal is that you have
Mm-hmm.
to find that peace within your woman or within your man.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, I think you'll be good approach if you come home tired
Mm-hmm.
and you had a tough day.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, honey, today is not today. Today I need that little peace. And then this is when you sit down, you bring down your energy. And we just went through this recently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You bring down your energy to find some sort of a middle, and just be there.
Yeah.
You know,
Why am I crying? Sorry.
if not,
Oh, it was tough, but actually we made it. We passed through that tough situation, and I learned a lot. Understanding. For those girls watching right now, understanding your partner, it takes a lot of patience. And yeah, And patience and understanding, it is the key of, or to me, I believe it is the foundation that makes a marriage or relationship works. And communication as well, it is a must to communicate properly with your partner and have peaceful conversation with him or her. That's my takeaway. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes it's not even about a look conversation. Like, some people are very good, and I think that has a lot to do with how your brain perceives things, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
genetic. Is that some people are very empathetic. Um, so if you tell, like, if let's say I'm excited because I bought a motorcycle, or whatever, let's say, right? I got a new motorcycle. I'm all excited. And then, you come home and you say, listen, I had a super tough day at school. This student did this student did that, and
Mm-hmm.
among other things. At this point, the motorcycle doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Motorcycle can wait. I'm gonna, if I see you're down, I'm gonna come down to your level because you're more important to me. But when you see, a person that's down and the other person is all excited and this and that, it's a huge disconnection.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna have to ask yourself a question, right? Because is that something that the person is just blind, or it's just sometimes it's just that's how people are. So if you're not capable of just of being objective or empathetic, why am I going to be mad at you? It's just who you are. But maybe you just don't understand because you haven't been, like, for look, a lot of things come naturally to us. A lot of things we have to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God knows that most of the things that I've kind of learned, in the last 3 years, it's look, it's nothing new, but till you read it, you don't realize it. For example, like, oh shoot, I've did that. Oh shoot, I should have known that. There's a lot of oh shoot,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
If,
oh, I should have listened. I should have done that. I should have, do this. Like as a guy, it's like, um, you're gonna have some problems or arguments, and
yeah.
sometimes as a guy or as a woman, it's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to argue. I'm just gonna walk away. And you think like you're helping things, but you're not helping things.
Yeah.
As a man, grow some balls, sit down with your woman and listen what she has to say. Because if you're gonna sweep problems under the carpet, eventually what are you gonna happen? The carpet is gonna get underneath your foot, and you're gonna fall down.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just keep piling up the problems, problem happens, talk about it, get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, something's gonna happen. Talk about it, get rid of, figure out a way. Next one, and that's how you just go through the relationships. Because if there's gonna be a bigger problem, and now all these little problems pile up on top of that bigger problem, it
Mm-hmm.
is just so much harder to get from underneath that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Exactly.
have just way too many issues. And for most part is when we recently start talking again, you send me a message, like after we talked about, the thing is, you send me a message, and that about that, you were thinking about leaving.
Oh yeah. Because it's
And
painful,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, I understand, but I'm not gonna make it easier on you. Uh, but in that message, you said something that you should have learned from me, what I wanted, and look how much it took, and it show like to me it shows how little attention you pay, and that's a very common characteristic of a man. Like men don't pay attention as much as women. Women are like private investigators.
Mm-hmm.
The ears are this big, and their satellites are picking up, XM radio from Canada. Women are so they are so hypersensitive to what guys say, what they do, among other things, and guys are not. In our relationship, it's reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are like a guy, and I pay attention to everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know. However, when it comes to characteristics, you're very delicate and feminine,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I'm delicate and feminine as well.
Oh, I just want to
Okay.
say that your long messages, um to me, there's no point of arguing with you because it's I already heard about it before many times, and it will only backfire our
Yeah, but
communication.
you still don't get it. But you still don't get it. I can tell you 50 times and you still don't get it.
That moment when I internalize what you're trying to say and I only responded um a thing that will gonna benefit both of us, and that is to have a
Look, at the
conversation.
end, yeah, but the thing is that okay, so let's just say like this: if um, what matters to us is that
Mm-hmm.
when we have something to say, that somebody actually wants to hear it, right? And somebody's actually listening, not just listening, blah 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 blah, but they're actually listening and they're taking you seriously. If you're trying to pursue someone, or you're trying to pursue someone um, to change their idea, okay,
Mm-hmm.
to your idea because you feel like your idea is better, or your way is better, but that person is so stuck on their idea that no matter how much you're gonna tell them and no matter how much evidence you're gonna show them, they're not gonna change. At this point, there's no point of telling them anything, because if you're gonna tell me like this, Marty, um, our relationship is great, but I've been having problems because, for example, you do ABC. Now, sometimes you have hopefully when you have a problem, have a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the problem, here's the solution. Um, or you try to do something about it, you try to correct it. At some point, when whatever you're doing and it doesn't work, you lose hope.
Mm-hmm.
And when nothing works, you start to feel like the person you're with, they just don't take you seriously. They don't consider you. They don't consider how you feel, that whatever they're doing angers you, among other things. And that's kind of tough to swallow, especially, after like months or even years of just the same kind of grinding and grinding and grinding.
Mm-hmm.
And you still try is because everything else is perfect. And you try to close your eyes and not pay attention to certain things, but eventually there are certain things that bother you. It's just you can't help it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, it's like I said, if I'll tell you certain things, like if I teach you exactly what I need, like what's my personality, uh, what are my weaknesses in you, after 2 years, you have no idea how to talk to me. You have no idea no idea what I want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Then what am I supposed to say? Look, um, this is technically 101 sales, right? So selling, that means if I'm a salesman or sales lady and I have a customer, I have to pursue that customer that whatever I'm selling, they need or they'll have value from or they can use in the future that they should
Mm-hmm.
buy it. So I'm not gonna tell them because I need this. If I have this, I'll do this, blah 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 blah, whatever, right? No, you have to talk to them in their language. Like you have to show them that if let's say a toothbrush, right? If you're gonna buy this toothbrush, you're gonna have a better, nicer teeth or nicer breath. You're gonna be over healthier, and this is gonna keep you, teeth white, among other things. You're not gonna say, "Well, my teeth are this," and it's like because now you're just talking about yourself instead of concentrating on your client. It is the exact same thing. When you mad at me, if you're mad at me and you wanna leave me, I'm not gonna say like I did this for you, I did that for you, blah blah blah, whatever. I have to speak your language. I'm gonna have to say I know how you feel. I know you wanted this, but you didn't get it. I have to speak your language.
Mm-hmm.
If I'll if I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna repeat to you all the things that you complained about. Okay, that tells you that I'm paying attention to you, that I'm aware what hurts you. And if I'm gonna address those issues, I'm gonna tell you I have already planned number one. For example, before I go to sleep, I fart in my bed when you're next to me, right? You hate it. Plan number one, I'm gonna stop eating beans. Okay, we have a plan and a solution, right? That means okay, he's paying attention. I hate his farts.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, for example, it's what do you hate about? Let's say I use a lot of I'm vulgar. I use a lot of bad words.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, so I could say that okay, I'm using bad words, and from now on, for example, instead of like saying crap, I'm gonna say Oklahoma. I'm gonna replace something with more PG-13 type of words, for example, and I'm gonna work as hard as I can. And what's gonna allow you to know if I'm working on it? Because you can see it. Like I can say whatever I want because it takes no effort. It costs me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I stop farting, that means I'm not eating beans. If I'm gonna start swearing, and I'm replacing these words with something more funny or whatever it is, then you know that I'm considering your, you know, I'm being considerate of you because I'm actually putting these into actions. But if I'm gonna make you promise and I don't do anything about it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I say, but I'm working on it, but I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, does that that doesn't do anything for you?
Mm.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what we want. It doesn't matter what matters. It's not even the results are absolutely matter. That's the only thing that matters.
The result. Mm-hmm.
So if you fail and let's kind of be clear, right? So my goal for you was that um if let's say you do certain things, I do not want you to fail, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to do anything for me. I want you to do things for yourself. And if I'm trying to do like if personally I'm trying to learn something, I'm trying to improve whatever, I'm trying to learn language, and I'm failing, after a couple of months, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm changing the way
Approach.
I'm intaking like the language classes, right? Maybe I was watching YouTube, that doesn't work. Listening, well, I have to maybe pick up a book. Maybe I'm gonna have to visually watch a video. Whatever it is, I keep changing till I fairly till I finally figure things that what actually works for me. Because I could say, well, you know what, audio doesn't work for me. It doesn't mean the audio doesn't work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the data, it doesn't. Not just because you think so. Let me see the data.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't care what you do, but I'm paying attention if you're improving or not. If you're not improving, that means whatever you do, and it's like with this in everything. And when it comes to life,
Mm-hmm.
um, like I said, long distance relationships are complicated but easy, right? We don't have to live with each other. There's a lot of things we don't notice because we had very limited time together. When you live together, you get rid of that distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Component, but you introduce totally new components. Now we share well, we don't have to share bathroom, but but let's say we have one bathroom at home, right? So we sharing bathroom space. We share, whatever. You can say towels, maybe, you don't put this toilet seat down and that bothers you, or like I do. But you know what I mean? Like there are certain things where as a guy, now I'm like, I have to change my habit because you can complain about things. And like for me, I don't worry about it personally. I mean, I put my toilet seat down if you have, let's say, even if I put my toothbrush in a place where you don't like it, and you say, can you put it on this side? I'll put it on this side. What's the big deal? I don't want to see you pissed off. I care about you, right? But maybe there's somebody stubborn and it's like, well, this is my house and I want to keep my toothbrush here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and that's gonna bother you because you're stubborn too. You introducing these little nitpicky things that eventually kind of build up into resentment. Do those things like even make sense? Absolutely not, but they happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you go through these things, and at some point, like I said, if you don't have that, strong foundation, like I said, when you come home and you don't find peace, you come home into the war zone because you argue about stupid things. How do you think you're gonna survive for next 10, 15, 20 years? How's that supposed to happen? Can you please tell me? I'm listening. Mhm.
Well, um, actually,
Yeah,
you are
tell me,
right,
tell me.
and it is actually good that as a girl, you should listen to your man based on your
I'm a
experience.
girl. Wow, wow,
Example,
wow. I'm a girl.
put the sit down when after using the toilet, and I I experienced that I didn't put the toilet down, and you keep on nagging about that, and
Who?
you,
Me?
yeah, you nag about that.
Did I
Please.
did I nag to seriously? Did I nag? Man, was I
Yeah,
drunk? Like,
yeah,
okay.
and I keep that in mind that um never do that again because that pisses you off. And when it comes to my communication style, I should tell you right away what's on my mind or what's bothering me. So I have a different or unique communication style, and am trying to change that, not for you but for me, because English language, it's a bit, you know it's hard for me to
Challenge.
yeah,
Challenging.
challenging. But I'm
Um,
trying. I keep on reading books, listening to podcasts, audiobooks. I have here. I purchase books.
Purchased.
Purchase.
Hmm.
Yeah. So then I downloaded application like Quick Pronunciation, Elsa. So I'm using these tools for me to have improvement when it comes to my English language, especially that my partner is a foreigner. So communication is a must, and I value intelligence. And since my partner is
Who's
intelligent,
who's your partner? Because you thought about since your partner is a
he's in
farmer.
front
Like,
of
where
me.
is he?
He's in front of me.
I don't see.
Marty,
I don't
okay.
see him.
Oh, he's intelligent, and yeah, that's one thing that I value about you is that you are way more smarter than me. That's my opinion, and I I want
No, it's a fact. It's a fact. I'm kidding.
yeah, yeah, it is. And you are more mature than me when it comes to different aspect of life, especially on finances, you economics. I'm
Look,
teaching economics,
what?
but I only know the basic. When it comes to the deeper algorithm of economics, I don't know that, but I learned throughout our communication, I learned a lot about economics. And I was able to apply that into my teaching with my students. And thank you, love.
Yay. So are you're telling me that we are inflating our love away?
Inflating?
Yeah. Inflation. We're talking about inflation.
Inflation. Yeah,
Okay.
inflation.
So if we have, what's the other word for inflation?
What's the other word? Um,
Okay.
inflation or
What's the other word for inflation?
what's the other word? Um,
Okay.
inflation or the piling up of higher prices. No, 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 no.
Yeah, but so technically, inflation is the other word you can actually replace it with is expansion. Inflation of
Expansion.
money, expansion
Expansion.
of money supply.
Yeah.
Same thing. So same thing is it's like I have an inflated ego after you give me all these compliments.
Wow, well, that's how I feel.
I know, I know. And it's not intelligence because you can have look, you can have very intelligent people, but they don't know how to even comb their hair. They wouldn't know how to change a tire. They have no idea how to basic things, but they're very smart in computer. It's not about intelligence because people are intelligent in their own little kind of niche. It's about wisdom.
Wisdom. Yeah.
And I think, with time, with experiences, with all my ups and downs, all my mistakes that happened in my life, and, good times, bad times, and all these things, is you eventually kind of slow down and you look at things and you become a little bit more wiser, and you also become more objective where you can see both sides and you are not attached emotionally to none of these sides because as everything in life, as people are arguing pro this, pro that, against this, against that, oh, both sides are usually right in their own mean. It's like technology, like social media. It's got some good things about it. It's because it connects people, but it's also got a lot of bad things about it, right? Because it creates uh, it creates these expectations that are just unachievable. People feel poor because they see, this guy's got car and this got beautiful house and they go on a vacation, whatever it is. It's really what you get out of it about it. So this is one of the reasons why I deleted Facebook from my phone. I don't use X. I don't use Instagram. I don't use none of it, and I'm much happier. These things have get it out of my life because it has no value to me. I don't care about entertainment. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing is that, I don't need you to entertain me. I don't need you to do anything for me. I just want to see you every day and, talk to you and just look at you.
Oh,
You
yes.
know what I mean? I
Thank
need
you.
companionship, for
Uh-huh.
most part.
Mm-hmm.
And, what do you call it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. And, when you do good, when something, good happens to you and you're happy, I'm happy. When something better happens to you or somebody does something to you, I'm pissed off, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like very attached. I'm very attached to how you feel. But
Mm-hmm.
and another, thing, like if you would go and because you had a bad day and you're gonna unleash, your anger at me, I ain't gonna put up with this crap. I'm not your friend. You wanna bitch to someone, go talk to your friend, and when you come down, then come talk to me. I'm not here to put up with your crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not your friend, okay? I'm your partner.
Yeah, I learned that. Oh, when it comes to my problems, especially when I talk about it with you, it's a different thing. But when it comes to my problem at work, I actually vent my anger towards my coworker or my students.
No, but I've never said that like you shouldn't talk to me about the problems you have at work. You misunderstood it, and I clarified this with you before. For
Not
some
to vent
reason,
my anger with you, but to my I share my problems with you, but venting my anger with you is not a good thing. That's what I'm talking about.
oh, because because if you think you have a reason to be angry at me, then you need some medical help. There's something wrong with you.
That's what I'm trying to say. You know, when I get pissed off to my students, uh, I get pissed off with him, but not you, not at you.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Is there anything that bothers you about me at the moment?
No, I don't better bother.
There you go. I'm perfect, I guess. Okay. But but you know what? Because I do pay attention and I care, and I do tailor uh that part of my thinking when it comes to relationship to you, right? So like to me, you know, at least based on my view, what I think that you find important, I'm trying to be that for you. That's my
Oh,
job.
thank you.
Now, I can't give you everything that like you would want because, um, at some point, like if I feel like you deserve, it's one thing, but that's for me to decide. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can,
Yeah.
but when it comes to how we talk to each other, how we treat each other, uh, I mean, look, I mean, we famously fight very little. Like when it comes to relationships, we're like goddamn teddy bears. You know what I mean? Like we literally had very little fights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, you know, for like 2.5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there are couples who technically fight every week,
Oh, yeah.
but so we don't fight a lot. When we fight, there's like, I think
Misunderstanding.
you great with kids and you great with people and like you be perfect customer service, well organized and all these things.
Oh.
But when it comes to understanding, your man, you're horrible.
Hmm. I'm
You
still learning.
it's not up to the debate. The thing is that the goodness of your heart, it kind of compensates for a lot of it. And because I'm aware, stop it. Because I'm aware your shortcoming, I'm okay with that. Like I don't take it against you personally. It's just that's how you are.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't have a big heart like you. I cannot maybe be objective as you are, for example. And when you see a problem, you try to avoid it. When I see a problem, I don't care. Like I'll face it.
Mm,
I would say you're a much better person than me. But then, like I said, when I see you're in need or you're actually hurt, and I'm. It doesn't take me a lot to put my pride on the side and step in. And some other
mm,
time, let's take care of the big problem we're facing now. And I think that's what makes make for a responsible guy.
mm. You know what I've
That
learned?
sometimes it's just that pride on this side. Yeah.
You know what I've learned? Marriage and relationship would last because we treat it like a continuous job, not just a single
It
event.
is a continuous job.
Yeah, continuous job. You keep
Yeah.
on grinding it, taking care of it every day. Yeah,
Well,
there.
it's like your car, your house, everything. It requires maintenance,
Mm,
and the better you maintain it constantly, the less it's gonna break. If you don't maintain your car, if you don't change your oil, you're changing the whole motor. So just like you're changing your whole life, it's just easier to do your, required maintenance and just take your relationship. And look, uh, that's natural. There's gonna be a moment where you're not gonna be crazy about each other. You're not gonna
mm-hmm.
be falling in love. This is where can't because technically everything like we are dopamine driven. This is where we find important to have goals, achieve these goals, and create another goals. Uh, Something for yourself. So you have your own goal, I have my own personal goal, and then have a goal together.
Yeah.
So let's say if you're in Philippines, if you're Filipina, have a goal of like for our goal is to land and build a house in Philippines. So if Reina is gonna come here, we're gonna save money. We're gonna buy land. She's gonna put 80%. I'll put 20. Right? That's how that's gonna work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I
Oh
agree with
yeah.
you.
So yeah. Okay. So I'll put twenty
80% of my.
percent. She'll put 80. Yeah, yeah. And then we're gonna build a house, right? And then one day we'll retire in the Philippines, somewhere in the mountains, and I'll be a
Mm,
proud of a goat, two sheep, 10 chickens, one rooster, two cows, because you know how I love my milk in a coffee, with a portable generator and maybe Starlink for the internet
uh-huh.
off the grid.
Yeah, that's actually a good plan.
That is a good plan.
Yeah.
So I need you to start making money so I can finally lay down and not do anything all day every day. And yeah, okay. Oh, now you laugh, right? It's how they said it's the wife at home, wife when she goes. Hey.
Well, you make me laugh. Yeah, most of the time. And what matters
Yeah.
to me most. Yeah, you are my
Okay.
happiness.
So because this video is gonna be pretty long,
Oh.
so to conclude, in your personal opinion, Miss Reina May Vira, Reina May Vira, um, when it comes to what makes a marriage a good marriage, whatever, I think we
Mm-hmm.
did pretty good.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, it's hard to make a blank uh, blanket statement that covers everybody
Mm-hmm.
because marriage, has different meaning to different people. But yeah, marriage or relationship, whatever it is, it's I would like to add one thing is that the studies are very clear that people that are opposite from each other do much better. That means that the masculine guy fits better with the feminine woman. If the
Mhm.
woman is very driven, very masculine, um, and so is he, it's like putting two roosters under one roof. It's not going to work.
Mhm.
There has to be a balance. However, if he's ambitious, so you have to be. If you're ambitious, he always has. So also has to be. Work ethics, among other things, these things have to match because the water seeks its own level.
Mhm.
When it comes to masculine and feminine energy, these things are opposite. That's what usually, uh, more often than not, actually have a tendency to work and actually last. So I think that would be a good recipe for success. Um, and naturally, like even as a guy, if you don't want to have a fight and you just, your wife or your girlfriend, she's fighting you about decorations and just everything else, and you just kind of uh, let her have it. Technically, eventually she's gonna lose respect for you, and she's gonna lose respect for you. She's gonna cheat on you.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's what happens. So as a guy, sometimes you'll have to put your foot down.
Mhm. Yeah.
So no putting pink carpets in my bathroom. I'm gonna tell you right away.
Okay. No problem. I know that you hate carpet.
Oh, I'm not a fan of pink either. Okay,
Pink.
I was kidding about that. I know you're surprised, but no pink.
Mm.
All right, all right.
One concluding statement based on what I have learned about what you have shared to me. So, marriage and relationship, it requires daily effort, staying humble enough to admit when we are wrong, and always being dedicated to growing together.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes it feels good to say that I've been wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It feels good. Like I have no problem saying that. Like, I get angry, I'll say something, then I think about it. I'm like, oh, I should have not said that. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep that to myself. I'll let you know. Look, I should have done better. And you try not to repeat the same thing. Not saying you're always gonna succeed when you're at the
Mm-hmm.
heat of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And like we have not been at each other's throats, but I said a thing or two, you know, during our relationship that I shouldn't have said, and that was childish on my part. I said I'm sorry. Like I should have done better, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't deserve such language. So what do you call it? So just like I said, just because you're so delicate and you're so feminine, that also brought a lot of my negative energy down. Where I'm just way more stable, way more calmer. Um, since like I said, since I've met you, like I could tell a lot that because you technically don't fight me, we kind of, well, like I said, we don't really have a lot to fight about, and
Mm-hmm.
plus I'm not looking for things to fight about anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes certain things,
Certain
but
things. Yeah.
that's neither here or there, nor I can
Yeah.
confirm nor deny it.
Yeah. And thank you so much for
Hmm.
sharing your thoughts about the question that we
Okay.
actually agree to talk about today. Thank you so much, love.
Okay. Of course. I'm looking forward to receiving my first Bitcoin from you. I'm a Bitcoin holder.